Hey there, Zendrummers, welcome back. This is episode 2 of the Zendrum Studio behind the scenes video series. This will be a callback to episode 1. You may recall that in episode 1, we were investigating a stomp block that seemed to be malfunctioning.
That's a lot of bytes.
But it turned out to be that the problem was related to the length of the samples and them not being properly trimmed. So in this episode, we're going to do something about that. Stay tuned. Okay, so let's start off with how Restomp currently works. Here I have an empty folder. So we're going to insert some samples here. I have a snare drum left over from when David sent it to me. It has 16 samples. These are 16 samples that came from his original card, to be clear. So these were already post-processed, but we're going to go through the post-processing process again. Yeah. A lot of mouthfuls today. Alright, so after importing the files, currently you reach this step, which allows you to place effects and to kind of demo the sound, or demo the instrument. This is problematic, and I have to eat crow on this. I thought at the time when I was building Restomp that this would be a valuable addition to it. Mostly at the time I wanted some reverb or convolution. But along the way it stopped working and I had to take it out. So we're left here now with just these three effects: delay, phaser, and reverse. The idea was to go back and get reverb working and perhaps add additional effects like compression and in hindsight this was the wrong path to go down, because no matter what effect I apply on here, well, most effects anyways, they're going to increase the length of those tails, right? Reverb, it's going to lengthen the length of the sample. So this was a mistake. We're going to take that out. But just to finish up here, so yeah, you would apply your effects, and then on the next step, that was it. It would just finish and you're done. Okay, so two problems there that I think we can fix. One is we need to get rid of the whole effects thing. We'll take that out. And the other thing is you really didn't have any insight into what it was doing with those files. It was processing them. It was doing some trimming, but you couldn't see that happening, and you certainly couldn't control it. So in addition to removing the effects, I also wanted to give you more insight into that and actually let you have some control over it. So what I want to show you now is the next version of Restomp that's going to be going live very shortly. This will be version 4.1. So here we are in the new version of Restomp that I'm working on. We're going to do exactly the same thing. We have an empty folder. I'm going to import the same samples, same 16 snare drum samples that we did before. But now, notice when I hit next, I'm not taken to the effects page, but instead the sample review page. So what we have here is down the left-hand side, we have all of the original waveforms as they were imported. This gray box is the portion that Restomp has identified to be the meat of the sample, with everything else that follows being silence or near enough to silence. Every interface is going to be a little bit different, so there's going to be a certain amount of noise down there. And then on the right, this is basically just a zoomed in view of that gray box, so you can more closely see where the tail is and where it's being cut. We have time values here that show the length of the sample. So this one was 1.2 seconds before, and you can see now we've cut it down to 0.3 by removing all that silence. I also noticed while I was scrolling that some of these, it's tough to see, but there is a little bit of silence at the beginning of the sample that's being trimmed. Not each of them has it or the same amount, but enough that were you to put this on an actual stomp block and use it, you would feel that. But at different velocity levels, the sample would be mushier. It would have a little bit of a delay after you hit before it would sound, but not consistently. So that's why it's important that Restomp does this trimming, both for the playability of the instrument, but also obviously for the polyphony, which is what we're trying to increase here by shortening the samples. Now, this trimming process isn't perfect, and for some instruments it can be too aggressive, which is why I'm giving you some controls over this now. There's this floor slider down here which allows you to move the noise floor up and down, or in other words, what Restomp considers to be silence. you can move that up and down a little bit. For instance, on this last sample, which was 1.2 seconds long, with most of it being silent, when I click the play button, you can hear and then see as it transitions from a play to a pause icon, just how long it's taking to finish. Now, one point that I have to make clear is it's not completely silent in there. There is a little tiny bit of timbre, which you can notice in the processed version. If I hit that, here it cuts off at the end. A little bit of that decay is being cut off. So what we can do is just lower the floor a little bit. And as you'll notice, as I'm lowering it, those gray boxes are growing. So it's including more of that tail in there. The sample itself is also getting longer, but that's probably a better value for this particular instrument. Yeah, the effects that Restomp allowed you to put on before really shouldn't be pre-process effects. They should be post. You know, in other words, what that means is your stomp block, instead of sending it straight to an amp or to a board, you'd go through an effects unit, either for compression or reverb, as an outboard process, where you have more control over that. And the stomp block obviously isn't wasting polyphony trying to play all that. Now, this version of Restomp just has the single floor setting down here that applies to all of the waveforms. I'm open to allowing you to change that value for each individual waveform. It felt like it would be overwhelming to most users and clutter the interface quite a bit. But that's something that I'm open to discussions. So by all means, comment down below or visit the Zendrum forums. Did you know we have a forum? There's not many people on it yet. I don't think anyone's really discovered it. Let me know what you think, and we can expand on this. A couple last things I want to show you. When I hit next now, instead of just being taken to a screen that says, okay, we're about to do this, do you agree? Instead, you're shown the demo screen like we had before on the effects screen. So here I can test out the snare drum at various velocities by clicking close to the edge or the center, or this crescendo will just play all 16 samples rapidly. Sounds pretty good. So hit finish, it imports them, they're on my card now. Now, the other thing I want to show you really quick is how this affects the MIDI conductor. The MIDI conductor, if you're not aware, allows you to siphon samples from other MIDI sound sources. I'm not going to go through the entire interface here, but basically it sends a series of MIDI note messages through whatever interface you choose. And then when the sound source receives that MIDI and plays the note, it records the sound that it generated, and then obviously you can use that as a sound source for your stomp block by importing that as a file. I don't have a MIDI device on here. Oh, technically I do. That's when I'm using to record audio. But I don't have a MIDI sound source, so we'll just have to wing it. That's my phone, so yeah, I'll be able to just snap my fingers. Nope, yeah, there we go. Now I'm going to set the number of layers here to be 9 just for the sake of output because it looks better on screen. But you'd want to use 16 or more. And let's just try running it here. Like I said, I'm just going to snap my fingers here and hopefully it'll. I'm going to be the MIDI device. Here we go. Yeah. Now, that worked pretty good actually. If any of these need touching up, no, that's pretty good. Okay, well this one here, that probably went above the noise floor there, so let's redo that one. Oh, nice clean hit on that one. Okay, well anyways, let's take all these. So we have import results into card. What this allows you to do is pick a bank and the instrument number. I think we just used instrument 1, so we use instrument number 2 now here, or slot number 2. And this just takes them as though I had imported them from disk. So it's the same business. I can see how the trim operation is working pretty good there. This one had a very, there's some noise in there that's increasing the tail, but that's not bad. Yeah, I mean, I'm snapping my fingers. It's not it's a percussive instrument, but you get what I'm getting at, right? I'll hit next, and there, I have a finger snapping instrument. So anyways, that's how that noise floor and the whole import interface also applies to the MIDI conductor. So hopefully you find that useful. So I think we'll wrap things up there. Again, this is still a work in progress. It hasn't been released just yet. It's very close to being done. But if you do have any input or things that you'd like to see added or removed, by all means comment down below, or visit the ZenDrum Studio forums, the ZenDrum Studio Facebook page, the ZenDrum Facebook page I'm active on. I'll have all the links to everything down below in the description. But that's going to do it. So until next time, ZenDrummers, may you play well and play safe.